How do you make the old new? You can see a trend in the superhero genre to recreate and make the old feel new. There are recent examples in the DCU and MCU about exploring multiverses that show similar characters in different settings. Most multiverses or new settings will generally keep people interested in the what if questions, as in, what if the main character was different? Or, what if the main character was not there? What would the world look like? And that's one of the biggest draws of Gotham Knights. It provides a game that shows the Batman universe and Gotham in a way most people haven't seen it before. It attempts to answer the question, what would Gotham look like after Batman? But first and foremost, it is still a game, so is it a game worth playing a year after release? Well, if you're looking for anything in particular, like what the game is, the positives, or the however/conclusion, then feel free to jump to timestamps below. Otherwise, let's grapple hook 1,000 times to it. So Gotham Knights is an open world action role-playing adventure game set in the city of Gotham without Batman. It features a main story, side missions, and open world where you can patrol and stop crimes. You get to play as and swap at any time between the 4 playable characters of Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Hood, and Robin. Each character has its own unique playstyles, abilities, and skill tree. The game also features a gear system where you unlock different gear and better stats and buffs. So you can play the main story co-op, or you can play a 4-player heroic assault mode. To traverse around the open world city, you'll need to use your grappling hook, your bat cycle, or eventually you'll unlock a specific traversal move for your character. And overall, you have a campaign you can finish in around 16 to 20 hours. Now, let's get into what are some of the reasons that make Gotham Knights worth playing.
Batman is gone, but it certainly feels his absence.
One of the biggest draws of Gotham Knights is the story and setting. The game story shines when you get to see the cinematic cutscenes between the Batman family interacting together and coming to terms with a Gotham without Batman. When it comes to the overall story, the major set pieces and the certain villains make the game enjoyable. However, at points, the main story can feel a little disjointed and suffer from some pacing and repetition issues, especially when you get the repeated generic stop a crime in the open world filler missions within the main story. I found a massive highlight of the game to be the side missions based on certain famous Batman villains. These missions generally are their own self-contained missions and have this TV villain of the week feel to them. I found the story excelled when seeing the characters try to navigate the criminal underworld of iconic Batman villains without the reputation of Batman. Without spoiling too much of the story, the game does have famous characters from the universe. However, it still would have been nice to see a bigger focus on the Gotham without Batman. When talking about why Gotham Knights is worth playing, there is one area that some people may enjoy or not, and that's the customization. Firstly, each one of Gotham Knights characters has their own unique playstyle and abilities. They all level up even when not being used. This means you can change your hero between missions. So one mission, you may want to use the guns and brute force of Red Hood, and in another mission, you may want to use Robin's more stealth-focused gameplay. To add to this, the game has a range of skins you can unlock. And, like a looter shooter, has different gear scores and weapon stats, so you can gain gear through missions or crafting. It's a great feature being able to change your outfits and colours. However, a gear score system also means leveled enemies. While the gear score has a big impact in the endgame, it can make enemies harder to take out in the campaign. One way around this is just changing the difficulty that suits you. Speaking of updates on what you can do after the campaign, since launch the game has added a 4-player heroic assault mode, which is a 30-floor arena, and you can also complete a new game plus mode. When talking about the game a year later, I have to mention the performance. I didn't have any issues on the Xbox, which probably has something to do with all the updates since launch.
There's probably more inside.
When it comes to the however section, I find the biggest challenge of Gotham Knights is not that there are any inherently major issues. Some players may not enjoy the game because it's an experience you probably have played before. Remember at the start, I mentioned a trend of showing characters in a new setting or in a familiar universe, but from a different perspective? That was the major point of difference for Gotham Knights. Well, that and the co-op campaign. Because when it comes to gameplay mechanics, Gotham Knights feels like something you've probably played somewhere else. And you've probably noticed by now that it doesn't help that individually, most mechanics have an however. For example, the story shines when the Batman family interact together and with the villain side missions. However, the main story can suffer from pacing issues. The combat looks fluid and gives each character their own unique abilities. However, it can be repetitive and certain enemies, which I won't spoil, require you to use a charge close-up move, but they can leap and stun you from off-screen. The customization. The customization system provides a lot of different cosmetics and builds. However, Some people will see health bars and levels and feel like the game turns certain enemies into bullet sponges. The open world. The game offers an open world where you can complete missions and play co-op. However, traversal until you unlock your character's special transportation is painfully slow. This isn't helped with a terrible unlock system for quick travel. And the bat cycle. Seriously, look at this. The lights blur to try and give you an illusion of moving fast. So these different however's will play a major impact on how you feel about the game. But I still keep going back to the question, is Gotham Knights worth playing a year later? And for me, even when going through this list of however's, I still can't shake the fact that Gotham Knights is fun. It reminded me that not every game needs to be the next biggest thing. It is a game that is not perfect, but for fans, it is a fun and unique experience. So, if you're looking for a superhero game where you get to play in Gotham after Batman, a game with some open world elements with light RPG customization that can also be played co-op, the Gotham Knights may be the game for you. Thank you for listening and please subscribe.